Here's the problem with people like Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson. They have spent the last several months since Charlie Kirk's assassination spouting off claim after claim after claim, showing not a shred of evidence. It's always this, well, I'm just asking questions BS they use to then excuse them to say whatever on earth has popped into their heads or was revealed to them in a dream by the ghost of Charlie Kirk. No joke, Candace Owens has made that claim. And they've made up a bunch of defaming lies about Erica Kirk, about TPUSA, about Kash Patel, and probably about everyone in existence at this point, has been in some way incriminated in Charlie Kirk's assassination if you believe the likes of Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson. And what makes this really harmful is, one, they don't bring their sources. So there's really no way to falsify it. You can't discredit a source that doesn't show itself. Candace Owens says, a source tells me, a person I trust has said this. And it's like, well, I don't know how to rebut that other than saying it's just not true. And if you're a person in the public who really has no way of knowing either way, you just kind of have to accept that they're just asking questions. The problem is, you need to bring evidence. That's an obligation you have. You don't get to just make claims and say you're just asking questions when you don't have evidence and you're presenting it like a fact. If you want to question the narrative, that's fine. But if you're going to put up a distinct counter-narrative, not just saying, I don't believe the facts as they're being presented, but no, I think the facts lead this way. When they don't, you're a liar. You're a clickbaiter. And when you understand that these lies have a real and tangible effect on real people who are grieving, who are confused, who are lost, they also have an effect, somewhat less significantly, but still non-trivial, an effect on the conservative movement. They cause division, they cause confusion, and they distract people. And they're selling these every day, and there's no accountability. Because here's what we're realizing. As we have watched hours upon hours and hours of evidence being brought by the state in the Charlie Kirk assassination pretrial hearings, what you're realizing is the state's case is really, really solid. It is an absolute knockout blow to Tyler Robinson's defense. And I'm very thankful that we have that kind of evidence. We have DNA on the gun, DNA on the bullet casings, a bullet casing with similar engravings found at his house, his DNA found on the Dremel that probably did the engraving. We found him writing notes on Discord. We found text confession. We found a handwritten confession. We have his LGBT lover who said that he did it and has recounted that Tyler Robinson himself said that he did it to him. We have video footage of him on the UVU campus, despite Candace Owens saying that that never happened. Well, it did. He's on camera. And these claims that the defense has made that have said, well, his handprints that were on the glass, they don't match. Well, look at the security camera footage. He never touched the glass, so one would not have expected the prints on the glass to match him. Go figure. They've tried, literally, the defense is in such shambles right now that they are making arguments about how DNA evidence is unreliable. And we understand that scientifically, you can't say something is 100% certain, whatever, when it comes to a DNA match. But you do acknowledge DNA evidence has been used in American criminal courts for many years. It's considered the gold standard of evidence. It's highly reliable. And you got the defense in here scraping through the fine print in the scientific papers that says, well, technically, you can't be absolutely certain that the DNA is a match. They're literally even bringing up highly advanced genetic testing methods that are considered like bleeding edge, really great technology. It's not really in use yet. I forget what it's called. It's some type of sequencing, and it's not widely in use yet. And they're like, well, you didn't use this very novel, experimental, high-tech method that really nobody's using yet, and because that would be more accurate, really, I don't know that you could even use the DNA evidence. Give me a break. Obviously, to give Tyler Robinson a fair trial, the defense has to do their best job. I'm not chagrining them that. Good for them. It's requisite for our justice system to hold up. But this is what they're working with. Notice none of them have made any arguments about how the exit wound doesn't line up. Notice they haven't made any arguments about how Egypt was involved or Israel was involved and they had phones on site that day, probably because that's not even true. Notice how they've not made any arguments about how, oh, well, he couldn't have disassembled the gun as quickly as he would have had to do it, and he wasn't really seen, jumping down the roof with a gun. Well, be patient. They don't release all their evidence to the public from day one. It's here in front of the judge now. We have seen not all of it, but a good portion of it, and the evidence is really overwhelming. But you know what Candace Owens has not done? She's not walked back a moment of it. She's already moved the goalpost. She's making up a new batch of conspiracy theories as we speak. And very sadly, she has a very big audience. Candace Owens is making a lot of money off of her channel. She's more watched now than she's ever been, and she continues to tell these lies, and it almost doesn't matter that if you watch through the entire hearing, you can see that they're lies, because her audience isn't watching them. They're watching the clips. I'll scroll through reels and I'll see reel after reel after reel. I don't even agree with these guys, so it shouldn't even be in my algorithm, arguably. And they're saying, oh, you could tell this is all a big lie. You know, they stole the SD card. Israel was there. They paved over it so quickly. And it's just claim after claim after claim, and there's not any evidence. I get it. It sounds interesting. Some of the claims, even to me, sound a little curious. Like, for instance, the exit wound. To me, that was like, that is interesting. I'm not saying I believe the conspiracy theories, but that does deserve an answer. Well, what do you know? We were patient. We followed the evidence. We listened to the facts as they came out, and now we know why. It was a soft point bullet. Sometimes those don't leave exit wounds. And guess what? We haven't even seen all the evidence yet. So be patient. And if you're one of those people who tends to listen to conspiracy theories, unfortunately, you're probably in the right most of the time. They say that the difference between conspiracy theory and fact is about 6 months. And for much of the time, that is true. There's a lot of conspiracy theories I've believed that have been proven correct. But remember, if you would have people question the narrative, if you look at the people who listen to CNN, listen to Fox News, listen to the mainstream media or whatever, and you laugh at them because they just believe everything they hear just because it comes from what they perceive to be a reliable source, and then you turn around and you look at your favorite right-wing podcaster like Candace Owens or Tucker Carlson, and you just believe everything they say because it came from them and you consider them to be reliable, you are no better off than the most naive sheep who has ever flipped the channel to CNN or MSNBC. There's absolutely no difference between you. Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens are not infallible. They have been proven to be wrong on numerous occasions, as the state's evidence has shown. Candace Owens has made claims that he wasn't there on campus. She's made claims about his burial. She's made claims about Erica Kirk. She's made claims that the FBI never even questioned Lance Twiggs. Not true. We have his film deposition. She's made claims that Charlie was killed by a shape charge in his microphone, and well, now we have the coroner's report. Sure enough, he was killed by a bullet, and we retrieved the bullet fragments from his body. She said that Erica Kirk is a clinical psychopath. She said that his assassination was an occult ritual, that Charlie Kirk was seated in a pentagram when he was shot. She is absolutely insane. I do not use those words lightly. I really believe that Candace Owens is probably psychopathic. She probably is. Or she is so beyond the pale of greed that she is willing to build engagement at the cost of her morality. And I guess she's probably not unique in that, but it's just particularly appalling that someone who has such an audience and such a seat of privilege in the conservative movement would so debase themselves, building their following on a dead man's name, a man who was honorable and who did good things for the movement, whose widow is still with us today and who is doing good work with TPUSA under incredibly stressing circumstances. It's absolutely absurd. And Tucker Carlson, I don't know that he gets off much better because he's indulged in a lot of the same stuff. Tucker Carlson is a little smarter. He knows not to make a lot of these claims, but what he does is he'll give air to the lie, and he will platform people who are speaking the lies as well, and he'll just kind of push them out there and present them and say, isn't that interesting? We're just asking questions. We're not allowed to discuss this, when you're literally discussing it right now. Stop being a crybaby. And the end result of this is that his audience comes away believing whatever lie has been presented to them for like 2 hours straight. When you actually challenge these people to present one coherent narrative based out of the facts, even as they perceive them, it completely falls apart. Their conspiracy theories are contradictory and mutually exclusive many times. For instance, some people say that Tyler Robinson was a patsy. He was framed. He was forced into this by Israel. Makes no sense. Seems like something his defense would probably bring up by this point. But okay. Well, how do you make that jive with the fact that some people say Tyler Robinson wasn't even there at all? He never even set foot on campus. It doesn't make sense. Which one is it? Pick one. The other problem with these theories is they would require so many people to be in on it. Do you realize the collective theories that Candace Owens has espoused and that her followers believe in would mean that the government of Israel, the government of France, the government of Egypt, the FBI, the ATF, Kash Patel, the Utah State Police, the UVU Police, the prosecution team, probably the defense team, TPUSA and their lawyers, Erica Kirk, and everybody else who's in this environment, probably including Tyler Robinson himself, I guess, according to their theories, has to be in on the lie and working together to pull one over on you. Why? Again, it's not really clear why. Apparently, Charlie Kirk was starting to question his views on Israel. He was still incredibly pro-Israel at the time of his death, more pro-Israel than I am. I disagreed with him on that point, but he was hardly a threat to them. It just makes no sense. And so what the people who are peddling these conspiracy theories do to insulate themselves from the criticism is they're not willing to commit to any of their own theories. They'll say, well, I'm not saying that's what it was, but boy, it sure is suspicious, isn't it? It's sure weird. Wouldn't you think Israel would do something like that? Boy, isn't the FBI corrupt? I bet they would. And then you challenge them and make them take a step back. They won't defend their own ground. They're like amorphous. They're an impossible enemy to beat because they're just kind of moving with the smoke, whatever way the wind blows them. And if you get them on one point and say, hey, you're wrong on this point, take that claim back, they're like, well, I never really made that claim. Candace Owens did that. She made a big deal about how Charlie Kirk had a Catholic burial, and she was making some kind of theory about how this was such a problem. And when that was proven to be false, she went on Piers Morgan, claimed that she never ever said that, and it was on a news shtick about how he was actually cremated, which is just as false. She moves the goalposts. She lies about her own positions, and when she's proven to be false, she refuses to defend them, says she never had that opinion at all. There are enough real problems in this world to theorize about. There are enough real conspiracies that have come true that we can spend our time focusing on those without absolutely discrediting and debasing ourselves by pulling issues out of a hat that don't exist. If you're a conspiracy theorist, if you're a narrative questioner, if you're a noticer, good. That will serve you well in this world where there are so many lies and so many narratives need to be challenged and so many people in authority and in power and in positions of influence can't be trusted. We need that on our side. But be warned, there is never a place in your life where you can throw out caution and skepticism. And if you're not careful, you will find your conspiracy theory sniffer going way out of line, becoming totally miscalibrated if you refuse to subject yourself to the influence of evidence, if you refuse to be patient, if you insist on being an ideologue who chooses your opinions based on what you think would be fitting. I guarantee you, when Charlie Kirk was assassinated, a lot of people thought it would be very convenient for their movement to be able to prove that Israel did it. Sure, absolutely. There are a lot of bad things that happen in this world, and there's always people who are ready to blame it on somebody or blame it on something for their political gain. I think Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens are those people who are very bright and very talented, but they've become absolutely worthless to the cause because they've allowed themselves to get tunnel vision and to stare so deeply into the abyss of one issue that keeps them up at night that now, no matter what direction they look, they can see nothing else but their pet issue. And it makes them denounce allies, it makes them form enemies out of friends, and it makes them shatter the inertia of movements because they are idolizing this one idea.